History has a way of teaching us lessons, whether we listen or not. Right now, the world is teetering on a knife's edge, and the signs are clear. Multiple flashpoints are emerging that could lead to a global conflict. But before we jump to predictions or fear, let's take a step back. Wars don't start overnight. They are the product of social, economic, political, and military pressures that build over time. And today, all four dimensions are showing warning signs in ways that echo the moments before both World War I and World War II. In this video, we're going to explore these dimensions, examine the scenarios that could ignite World War III, and consider what preparation and outcomes might look like. By the end, you'll see the global chessboard clearly, and why the US and its allies are positioned to prevail. Chapter 2: Social Dimension. Societies are never static. Technology, culture, and social trends constantly reshape the way people live, and with that, they reshape the potential for conflict. Before World War I, the Second Industrial Revolution was transforming life. Electricity, cars, mass production, they brought progress but also upheaval. Farmers were uprooted, workers displaced, and social anxiety grew. Nationalist movements, labor unions, and new ideologies rose in response to uncertainty. Fast forward to today. AI, social media, and digital life are changing how we work, think, and interact. Privacy fears, misinformation, and rapid dissemination of ideas can polarize societies faster than ever. In short, progress breeds both innovation and insecurity. And historically, insecurity creates fertile ground for militarism and extremism. Imagine how social unrest can amplify every geopolitical tension, turning a regional problem into a global one. Chapter 3: Economic Dimension. Economics is often seen as a deterrent to war. Why destroy wealth if you can prosper peacefully? But history shows us that economic incentives alone never stop conflicts. Before World War I, Britain dominated global trade, Germany thrived industrially, but war still erupted. Economics could explain what nations could do, but politics decided what they would do. Before World War II, Germany and Japan sought self-sufficiency, feeling threatened by relative power imbalances. Today, US-China interdependence exists, but nations are rethinking their dependencies. Supply chains, resources, and energy security are all strategic chess pieces. Wars are rarely about absolute wealth, they're about relative power. When economic rivalries intersect with political ambition, the spark for conflict ignites. Chapter 4: Political Dimension. Polarization is political instability in motion. It divides societies, weakens institutions, and sometimes leads to violence. Before World War I, the Balkans were fractured. Nationalist movements clashed with empires. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand wasn't random. It was the culmination of years of political violence. Before World War II, Germany's Weimar Republic was in turmoil. Militias, assassinations, and extremist movements rose, paving the way for authoritarianism. Today, polarization is visible globally. From the US Capitol attack to political violence in Europe, societies are fractured. When compromise becomes impossible, conflict becomes inevitable. Understanding political polarization is key to anticipating where wars can erupt next. Chapter 5: Military Dimension/Alliances. Wars don't start as global wars, they start as regional conflicts. Alliances determine whether they escalate. Before World War I, Austria versus Serbia triggered a chain reaction across Europe. Before World War II, Germany, Italy, and Japan initiated separate conflicts that became global once the US entered. Today, the axis of dictatorships, China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, is forming with unprecedented cohesion. NATO, while strong, shows cracks. When aggressive alliances grow stronger and opponents are divided, incentives to strike grow. Alliances are the domino effect that can turn any regional dispute into a worldwide war. Chapter 6: Global War Scenarios. Alright, let's imagine the scenarios, realistic, high-stakes situations that could shake the world. This isn't fear-mongering, it's analysis. If you pay attention, you'll see the pieces fit together like a chessboard. Scenario 1: Eastern Europe, Russia, and Ukraine. The conflict in Ukraine is no longer just regional. Russia probes NATO defenses constantly, airspace incursions, naval movements, cyber activity. One misstep, a missile, an accidental strike, or miscommunication, and NATO invokes Article 5. Suddenly, it's no longer Ukraine. It's Europe. The U.S. steps in strategic air deployments, special ops, escalation moves fast. A single flashpoint can trigger a chain reaction. Scenario 2: Middle East, Iran and proxies. Iran is testing limits with sanctions, regional influence, and nuclear ambitions. Add proxy conflicts in Syria, Iraq, Yemen. A localized strike can pull multiple players in. Russia and China have strategic stakes. How they respond matters. One miscalculation, and this regional fire spreads globally. Scenario 3: Asia-Pacific, China and Taiwan. China's ambitions in Taiwan and the South China Sea are well known. A clash in disputed waters or cyber attack on infrastructure can draw in Japan, South Korea, Australia. Trade routes block, energy shipments delayed, economies wobble. A regional problem becomes a global crisis. Scenario 4: South America, Venezuela and resources. South America isn't immune. Venezuela has critical resources, political instability, and potential U.S. intervention. Neighboring countries could get involved. Global powers respond. The domino effect is real. Tensions here ripple worldwide. Scenario 5: The domino effect. None of these scenarios exist in isolation. Eastern Europe, Asia-Pacific, Middle East, South America, they're interconnected. A single misstep in one theater can cascade, touching economies, militaries, and societies globally. Retention hooks throughout. What if NATO misreads Russia's next move? Could one cyber attack trigger a cascade that spirals out of control? Watch the next 6 months carefully. This is when the world could shift. Chapter 7: Preparation and Outcomes. What does this mean for the U.S. and allies? Let's be clear, the U.S. has capability, technology, and alliances. But preparation is key: military, economic, and societal. Military, defense systems, rapid deployment, cyber units, strategic intelligence, all active and evolving. Economic: diversifying supply chains, securing resources, ensuring energy independence. Economic resilience is as important as military strength. Societal: citizens, infrastructure, governance. Adaptation is essential. Emergency protocols, civil defense, communications ensure stability. Outcome: with strategic foresight and strong alliances, the U.S. is positioned to prevail. But it's not automatic. Attention, intelligence, and decisive action matter. Knowledge and preparation ensure that when the world shifts, we respond, adapt, and ultimately succeed.